Hey everybody, this is Sherry, and we are using Best Day Ever stamp set from the Greeting Farm. And when I saw this advert, when a lady showed it for the first time, she was on their design team. She called it like a teddy bear ears or out hat. But the minute I saw it, I knew it was going to be Mickey Mouse because I just thought that it was just too cute. And my little grandbaby, he absolutely loves Mickey. He loves Disney. We live in Florida, so he's gotten to go, several times. And he just thinks, Mickey's the bomb diggity buddy. and so I knew that I wanted to make this card for him. And I will make sure that I put all of the colors that I use will be listed on the screen for you. And I will put a link in the description box for this stamp set. And I will try. I know Jamie was giving away from the Not Too Shabby shop, she was giving away the stencil that I use here in a little bit. If she's still giving that away, I will link it as well. And I wanted Azrael has blonde hair, so I wanted this little boy to have, real pale hair. And so I'm going ahead and I didn't put down my base layer because I wanted it to be as soft as possible. So I started with my darkest, my mid-tone, then I'm going to go in with what would be my lightest, but I needed it to have a bit of a yellowy, more blonde looking highlight. So I add a fourth color and I go over it with YR30. And now, because there's nothing in between, I'm doing a tip to tip method to get it to blend. And then I'll go back in and all I will put in is just some of the shadows that I lost whenever I used my lightest color over top of everything. And so I'm just going to finish that up. And I love how his hair turns out. I'm really tickled with how it turned out. My little grandbaby, I didn't know if he even cared that his Oma was sending him cards, but I guess the other day he woke up in the middle of the night and he was having a bad night and all he wanted was his Oma's card. And my son said he slept all night holding that card. So that just tickled me. I was like, I'll make him one every day. I mean, I'd give him the moon and stars if I could. And here's the normal colors that I use for skin tones. I always put my base down, then my 01, my double, 0, and then I go over everything with my triple to blend it all together. Now I was trying to come up with a yellow combination that would match the yellowy orange of Mickey's shoes, and I think I did pretty good because the Y17, you think you'd go for a Y art, but Y17 is a orangey gold kind of color. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it worked out really good and I ended up getting the color that I was looking for. And so I used Y17, 15, and 13, and now I'm going to do his shirt in red, 14, 05, and 08, so that I can have the red that, Mickey always has on as well. And I put down my base color, then my darkest, and I typically work as if my light is shining directly in front and run with it like that. So I'm just using my Memento Tuxedo black ink and I'm going to stamp out a set of balloons. And I should have stamped them out at the beginning, but I don't know where my head is. I don't think clear sometimes. And I just used the same colors for the balloons as I did for his shirt and his shorts. Now I do not color these correctly. Had I been thinking, the lowest, the balloon at the bottom would have been colored first, then, or actually it would have been, I would have colored the entire red balloon, then I would have done the yellow balloon and went over that piece that where they overlap because balloons are transparent. But because of the way I was going to do these, I knew it really wouldn't matter, that you wouldn't see them as much. So that's what, so I didn't really worry about it too much. And so I go in and I finish off his little shoes. I did a W1 and then I went over it with an R05 to just, lay in some shadows. And so I'm just using my Recollection scissors here and I'm cutting him all out. And I cut him out and I cut my balloons out, and I will go over the edges of him with my Memento dual tip marker. And I don't know where, I need to get another one because mine's drying out. And I got mine originally from the Not Too Shabby shop, so I'm going to have to see if Jamie has more of them in or can get them. And she's really good. If you ask her for something and she can get it, she will do her best to get it in for you. So I'm going to see if she can get me another one, because I use that thing faithfully to go around the edges of all my die cuts. So I'm just going around all the edges and turning them black, and it made a big difference when you look at the hat because it was black. So you're not seeing that white core that was sticking out around the edge, and you can kind of see it there as I go over it. It made a difference. So now I'm just clearing some stuff out of my way, and I'm getting ready to use my Fisker's grass punch to punch some grass so that I can have it for the bottom of my scene. And then I use my trimmer and trim it down. I could have trimmed the piece down at the very beginning, but just do it however it works for you guys. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my tumbled glass distress ink with this MFT cloud stencil. And this thing is awesome. It's got 4 sides of clouds so that you get a lot of variety and you don't have any kind of repetition if you just rotate it. And that way it looks more organic. It doesn't look, as artificial. And so I just finish up all of the clouds and cover everything in. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in the button, and I cut the back off of it with my Tim Holtz scissors because I'm going to use that for one of my balloons. Now I use my Cricut Explorer and I cut the castle out there, and I'm just using some Tim Holtz Salty Ocean to go around it because I need it to stand out just a little from the cloud. You want to be able to distinguish it. You don't want it to blend in together. So I'm laying my castle down, putting my grass on, and now the thing would have been to put the castle on first because then I could have lowered it and then put the grass over top, but it didn't matter. I was still really happy with how it turned out. I'm just trying to work on my process because I'm just not very good at going, oh, this is the first step, this is the next step, So here I'm just trimming off the green with my scissors so that it's even with the card base. And this is just a 1-layer card, nothing fancy. Now I'm setting all my elements out there, and there's my balloons and my little boy. And I use some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to pop him up a little bit. And he's a tiny little one, but it didn't take much and it was easy. I think he'll be fine going through the mail. And I'm just trimming up a little bit there where I felt like I didn't cut very good, on his ears. And I'm going to use a glue dot to pop my little button on, and that's what I decided to use for my other balloon, which is why it wasn't that big of a deal, because I knew that the Mickey head would cover up the majority of them. And I'm using some Doodlebug twine for the strings. And I don't show it here, but I do go back and I put strings that are coming out from the bottom of his hand because I wanted it to look like, the string was still longer than his hand. But I don't show it. You guys don't need to see me attaching twine. And I'm just going to finish him up. Now, if you don't push hard, you can move them. All right. But if you push hard, once they're down, they're down. So I'm using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp my sentiment. And again, try to stamp your sentiment before you put anything dimensional on your card. But I was able to pull it off, so it worked. I hope you guys like this card. If you do, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Thanks for visiting me today, and happy crafting.